Good evening, Americans, and welcome to the Ed Show live from New York. Well, it's 5 o'clock. Let's get to work.
The left is trying to paint Detroit as a Republican failure.
There is no way that you can lose 300,000 manufacturing jobs and have a sustainable tax base for the city of Detroit.
Race hustlers and the grievance industry have intimidated the so-called conversation.
Make no mistake, Detroit is going bankrupt is exactly what the Republicans want.
The easiest explanation for Detroit's decline is it's all the union's fault.
Enough is enough.
We are people that sacrifice our lives. We may not come home one day. So to look at us as a spreadsheet is, to me, un-American.
I feel betrayed. I think all the retirees feel betrayed.
What we need is consistent policy from Washington, consistent policy from our state capital in Lansing. We need people to support us instead of turning their back on us.
There will always be those people that you can never help.
The 47% who are with him, who are dependent upon government, who believe that they're victims.
Let Detroit go bankrupt.
We may be one of the first, we are the largest, but we absolutely will not be the last.
Did you hear what Glenn Beck just said? He says there's always going to be people out there that you just can't help. Really? People that have worked for 35 years and paid into a pension fund, we can't help them. That's a great place to be, Baxter. You got to change the name of your website to Blazing Saddles instead of The Blaze. A major federal court ruling this week has cleared the way for Michigan Governor Rick Snyder to put Detroit through bankruptcy. Federal ruling. State law doesn't matter. State constitution doesn't matter. Governor Snyder, you know what he's getting? He's getting everything he wants. The conservatives are getting everything they want. This is the road to privatization. A lot of city assets are going to be divided up, privatized. City workers, they're going to have to take a huge cut. But remember, Glenn Beck said, there's always going to be just some people that you just can't help, even though they've paid into it. This is the systematic destruction of an American city. It's a government coup, basically, without violence. And it's completely unjustified and unnecessary. Now, why am I all over this story? I want to explain the coverage here on the Ed Show. This, my friends, is a live government takeover right before our eyes. We are seeing local elections being circumvented. We are seeing people put in place that have authority, not by way of the people, and making decisions that affect people's lives. That is a government takeover. The voices of the people are not being heard in any of this, although we are being told by Snyder that they're going to have a seat at the table. That's hogwash. Meanwhile, we have some breaking news here on the Ed Show tonight. Conservatives are angry with me. Righties are upset because I correctly said Republican policies trashed the city of Detroit, and it did. Trash is the right word. This week, roughly 35 articles were written about my Detroit commentary on this program last weekend, and most of these reports cherry-picked a few sentences and failed to mention and missed my main point. Ex-Fox News host Glenn Beck even highlighted the segment earlier this week.
Here's the thing about Detroit. For 51 years, they've elected progressive Democrats who have apparently instituted Republican policies.
Now,
and I think that's deceitful and wrong.
Here's the thing. The left is trying to paint Detroit as a Republican failure.
I don't even know how do you do that?
It doesn't even.
So state government has nothing to say about the city of Detroit? You guys need a civics lesson. Now, it wasn't just those guys. A whole host of conservative commentators wrongly pinned the blame on the Democratic city government of Detroit.
This is a one-party state, to be totally clear, right? There's no political diversity of any kind in Detroit.
Certainly in the city of Detroit. They haven't had a Republican mayor in 50 years.
Detroit is not really an example of the failure of GOP economic policies. It's been run by the Democrats for 60 years.
The level of corruption and Democrat rule, they're to throw money at the problem. We're going to just do whatever the unions say. That's what led to the downfall of Detroit.
Taxes, entitlements, pricey union benefits. Look at where it got Detroit.
Now, let's be very clear. I said last week on this program, and I'll say it again. The Republican policies of free trade, outsourcing jobs, attacking unions, blaming workers, and withholding state money from the city has crushed the city of Detroit financially. And let's not forget about deregulation on Wall Street in dealing with all of those pensions that were terribly hurt. All Democratic policies? I don't think so. Detroit lost roughly 300,000 jobs over the past 30 years. There is no way that a city survives when it loses 90% of its manufacturing jobs. The tax base erodes along with public services, along with safety, and what happens? You get a depopulation of an area, you lose your tax base. All these Republican commentators failed to mention this. I know a little research is involved. The city government of Detroit did not ship these jobs overseas. Republican policies greased the skids for the corporations to do just that. We have another fun fact for our misinformed conservative radio hosts and Republican audience who love to go after me on Twitter. I love it. Look at this guy. This is former Republican Michigan Governor John Engler, and he is a big player in all of what has unfolded in Detroit. He's Republican. He was a governor. He had power. You know what he did? He made a lot of bad decisions, and he had underhanded negotiations which played a major role in Detroit's bankruptcy filing. Let me take you back to 1998 when promises were made. Engler said he was going to give Detroit $300 million annually of state funds for 9 years if Detroit promised to bring down its tax rates, which they did. This happened until Detroit's economy suffered a downturn in 2002. The city got far less than what it was promised from the Republican governor, and it still couldn't raise the taxes because they were handcuffed in that regard. But one calculation came forward and said that the city lost $700 million in revenue because the deal was never lived up to. Basically, what they did was they starved the city of Detroit, denying revenue sharing. Snyder also withheld state funds from the city, and the media has let him off the hook on that. Bottom line here, Republican tax policy and tax breaks added to the destruction of this American city financially. Meanwhile, Republicans have also been attacking the Ed Show because we labeled Detroit a conservative utopia.